Hello and welcome to Transfermarkt TV. I'm Manu Feth, he's Stefan Bienkowski, and today's topic is Rasmus Højlund. I hope I pronounced that right. If I didn't, I'm sorry to our Danish community. But Stefan, this guy, he's been dominating the headlines. He's been linked with a bunch of teams. Manchester United, Bayern Munich is the latest team to sort of jump on the bandwagon here. This Atalanta striker, and Atalanta, of course, is a club that has been making headlines now for a couple of years in terms of them finding players, developing, moving them on to bigger, better things. They spent 17.2 million euros when they signed him from Sturm Graz, where he really only was for eight months and really left quite a dent in the Austrian Bundesliga. It seems like they're going to make a lot of money on this guy, Stefan, despite spending 17 million euros on him.
Yeah, this guy's kind of come out of nowhere. Obviously, the comparisons to Erling Haaland are impossible to avoid, really. You know, I don't think we've had this much kind of Scandinavian kind of interest since ABBA were topping the charts in the 70s, perhaps. But, you know, it's obvious why he has been compared to Haaland. He has the strength, he has the speed, and he has kind of jumped from club to club. First in Denmark, also at Copenhagen, and then, as you said, that small stint in Austria. Again, much like Erling Haaland did, and then very quickly snapped up by Atalanta, who, as we know, have a great track record of, you know, not only developing their own players, but also scouting some outstanding young players and then moving them on. And he's done a great job in Serie A himself. I mean, he hasn't exactly kind of blown the barn doors off. He's picked up 7 league goals and 3 assists in 26 games to date, but I think it's probably worth bearing in mind that, you know, Atalanta are more of a mid-table team. They're obviously pushing for Europe this season, but he is, despite maybe what would seem like a low goal-scoring record, still the club's second highest goal scorer already this season. And of course, you add that to like his breakthrough for the Danish national team, and it's not hard to see why he's already been linked with. I mean, in England, it's been linked with Man United and Chelsea, who are desperately looking for a new number 9. I think Bayern Munich have also been heavily linked with a move from 2. And it's not hard to really see why. You know, he is kind of very quickly developing into one of the most promising young players in Italy. In a division, worth adding, that obviously has a fantastic array of number 9s. You know, Victor Osimhen, Dusan Vlahovic, Lautaro Martinez just come to mind off the top of my head there. So it's a league that has remarkably developed itself into this kind of finishing school for number 9s. And it seems like Højlund's the perfect, not the perfect example, but the next talent on the conveyor belt. And it seems as though most of Europe's biggest clubs are already beginning to take notice of him.
Yeah, Italy, of course, used to have a reputation as being a low-scoring league. I think it's now second to the Bundesliga. And I think 2 years ago, it swapped places with the Bundesliga as being the highest-scoring league in Europe. So maybe some stereotypes are just no longer true when it comes to Italian football, Stefan. But this guy, as we said, Rasmus Højlund, you know, his goal-scoring record in Italy, not as big as the hype yet, and I have to say yet because he's still very young. I think where a lot of the hype has come from was his recent goal-scoring record with Denmark, where he scored 5 goals in 2 games, right? 3 against Finland, 2 against Kazakhstan. The Kazakhstan game also stands out because Denmark actually lost that. But the hype is very much real. You did a feature on him for Transfermarkt, and you did speak to our Italy expert, Yatin Dickel, who runs Transfermarkt.it, our Italian branch, right? And what did you learn?
Yeah, Yatin was extremely useful in just kind of giving me some great background information on how he's doing in Italy so far. And I actually asked him about the prospect of him already leaving Atalanta this summer, and he gave some really interesting insight, actually. So if we kind of look through not only the fact that Atalanta are very good at developing young players, but also very good at selling them. And if you look at the players that Atalanta have sold over the last kind of 5 or 6 years, you know, we're talking about guys like Christian Romero, Kulusevski, who moved to Juventus before moving to Tottenham, where he's now, Frank Kessie, who's now at Barcelona, Bastoni, who's a very young defender who moved to Inter Milan, Robin Gosens, obviously the German international. These are kind of younger players that have signed, developed, and then kind of moved on more often than not to bigger Serie A clubs. But when I did ask him how much he thought Højlund would move for in the summer, if he was to move, he said it would take something extraordinary. And we'd probably be looking at a transfer fee rather, of around 50 or 60 million euros. Now, that might seem like quite a lot for a young player who's only played 1 season, but as you mentioned, Atalanta have already spent the best part of 20 million euros bringing him to the club, so they'd obviously want probably at least double that. And I think what Yatin was basically suggesting was that if he does leave the club, it would be for a record fee. Now, the other interesting thing he did add when I asked about the potential of Manchester United or Chelsea or Bayern Munich signing him was that he said, well, let's just see what happens this summer, because the other big name in the kind of situation here is Victor Osimhen at Napoli, who's obviously been attracting a huge amount of interest, and he's widely expected to move on this summer. And what Yatin suggested to me was that should Napoli bank, 100, 120 million euros on Osimhen, don't be surprised if they kind of turn to Atalanta and sign Højlund as a potential replacement for the Nigerian striker. So that's really how highly he is regarded in Italy, as, to the extent that he could be the successor to one of the most promising, strikers in European football this season.
Yeah, and it would make sense because you look at the track record that Napoli has had with their number 9s, right? They've always been really good at selling key strikers and then sort of replacing them with other names that they then develop. Just some players that come to mind is Cavani. Higuain had a really good stint there before he moved on to Juventus. Osimhen, of course, is the latest, and they will have to sooner or later replace him as well. It's all really fascinating stuff, and when you look at the number 9 carousel, and it looks like it's becoming a little bit of a carousel or a merry-go-round, right, to use a more British term. It's really fascinating, I think, what's going to happen this summer, and Højlund is definitely one of the names that people should be watching. You can check, of course, all of that on Transfermarkt. You can check his stats on Transfermarkt. You can go to the rumor mill and discuss any potential transfer. Go check all of that out on transfermarkt.com, transfermarkt.co.uk, or transfermarkt.us. We'll be back with more soon. Until then, cheers and bye-bye.